what's up guys? Today I'm going to teach you guys how to do an ice pick. Just an ice pick stall and a quarter pipe. So I'm going to kind of show you how it's done, you know, the steps getting there, and like how you can kind of start off trying it without being too scared, because it is kind of a scary trick trusting all of your body weight and your bike on a 4-inch peg. So, because if you slip, you know, you're going straight to your butt or your hip. So we'll start by saying that. I'll do one to show you, then I'll kind of tell you the tips to get there. It is kind of a trick you're gonna have to mess around with a little bit to learn, but at the end of the day, if you listen to my tips and keep trying it, you'll probably end up landing it. So here, I'll do one quick. Looks pretty simple, but it's actually pretty confusing at that. Confusing learning it and everything, right? Because it's, like I said, you're trusting all of your weight on one small peg. So let's just start with the double peg. You're gonna want to know how to at least do a somewhat good double peg and kind of like a manual, because at the end of the day, it is kind of like a manual holding it, but you're obviously in a stall, but it feels somewhat like a manual. So you want to be able to double peg, number one. Number two, be able to manual. And that will help lots. So my biggest thing on this trick is speed, right? So I'm gonna do what I see a lot of people do, and this is gonna be basically to show you not to do this. And that is kind of just going too fast. So that'd be you going too fast. So it's kind of like, I don't know if you guys have done a foot jam or anything like that, but a lot of these tricks you want to stay kind of going a lot slower so that you could come back into the quarter pipe. So like I did right there, I went a little bit too fast, so when I came up and did the ice pick, I actually fell onto the deck. So you're trying to keep your bike perfectly straight, so I can show you on this. Keep your bike perfectly straight. A lot of people will put their body weight over here, when in reality you want all your body weight over here. So when you're doing the ice pick, you're constantly leaning in. So I'll do one right now from this angle just to show you. That. So it's, people call it an unturn down or something when you go like that and do that trick. I kind of do a little bit of that in my ice pick. So I try to say right now I'm straight. When you ice pick, you want to be to the right of your bike or to the left, depending on which way you go, but you want to be beside your bike so that your weight is still in the quarter pipe and not on the deck. Now, if you're trying to hold the ice pick and stall, you can kind of figure out your balance and, you know, kind of get right into the center, which would be somewhere like, which would be like, you could centralize it and stall, but to actually try to do the ice pick, you don't want to try to stall. You just want to come up, do the ice pick, and go right back in. The thing, brakes help a lot. If you have brakes, when you ice pick, your wheel, as long as the quarter isn't vertical, your wheel is, since the quarter is like that, and your wheel is going to be on the quarter, your brakes are going to be holding your wheel in place, making an ice pick easier. Brakeless is a little harder just because you don't have your tire on the wood, but still, it's the same thing. Just a little bit harder for guys with plastic pegs and, you know, stuff like that, but it's all part of it, right? Brakes are easier, and tech stuff without brakes sometimes harder. Start from the beginning one more time. You come up, you want to go slightly slow into it, almost like you're trying to double peg, and come back in the quarter right away. You don't want to try to stall it or anything like that. You want to come up the quarter pipe and do that little, like, you're almost trying to put your bike onto the coping. Keep your bike flat, but keep your body weight inside the quarter pipe. So that's, when you do this, you come up, put your bike on the ice pick, keep your body weight beside the bike so that you don't instantly just fall onto the deck, right? Because I see a lot of people do an ice pick and they keep falling over and falling over and falling over, but at the end of the day, if you just go a little bit slower, there's no possibility of you getting up to the deck that far. You go slow enough your body will always be in the quarter pipe. So to explain how you can this is how you should do your first ice pick. I'll do a double peg first to show you the kind of the speed, and then I'll do an ice pick after. And watch what I do with my, like how I put my bike on the quarter, on the coping, and then how I kind of get back in and everything like that. A lot of this is like, getting out of an ice pick is in the hips as well. So you kind of just do like a little hip movement to jump out of the ice pick. But I'm gonna do a double peg at the speed I think you guys should do it at, and then I'm gonna try the ice pick at the speed too, and just show you guys exactly how it should be. So you want to do that's a double peg. Same speed. You want to go slow. So you're in it, right back there. So I went slow there, and as soon as I got in it, I was almost falling back out of it into the quarter. That's the best way, in my opinion, to learn. If you're not going too fast, you know, if you go slow enough, you won't even make it up the quarter. So if you go slow enough just to make it into an ice pick, you'll be able to get back in just fine. And you won't have that problem of falling onto the deck consistently or not really holding it up. Because if you're doing it fast like that, you don't need to balance it in either. You're just in the ice pick and then you're out. So to explain, the getting out portion is kind of similar to a double peg. So it's like, if you watch my hips a bit here and how I get out of it, that's kind of how you get out of it. So you'd be in an ice pick, then you kind of just pop your body sideways. It's almost like a little jump and a jolt with your body a bit, just to get out of it, if that helps you guys at all. There's not much more tips I can give you guys. It's kind of one of those tricks that's like, you try it until you do it, and sometimes it takes a while, sometimes it happens fast. But yeah, come up, don't go too fast, aim for that back peg to land perfectly on that coping, lean back like it's a manual, keep your weight in the quarter pipe. So you want to almost, I used to put my hand down here to help me kind of get beside the bike. So you want to get beside the bike, whatever way you're doing it, make sure your body is in the quarter pipe. Stall it for a second until you start falling back in, and then do that little movement to get back in properly. But that's about all I can explain there. So there you go, there's the how to ice pick with Mike Varga. Like I said, I'm a brake user, so with brakes a lot easier for me. Without brakes it's a little harder to hold that nice ice pick, but you'll get it. I know you guys will get it. So honestly, I think the biggest tip is, like I said earlier in the video, is just staying beside the bike. You got to make sure that your body weight is in the quarter and your peg is on the quarter. So you're like this, right? That's it. Because when you're like this, if you're ice picking like this and your body weight's over to the right, there is no possible way you can fall to the deck. You have to fall back in, right? And if you feel that peg slipping off, jump off right away, or try to jump in, because you don't want your peg slipping off and then you landing on your hip or your butt or whatever, right? So let me do a few more. You know, I could do it a couple different spots around the park just to show you guys how it's done and kind of how I do it from different angles. But yeah, that's about it. How to ice pick with Mike Varga. So I'm just gonna try to do an ice pick slide for you guys to show what you can do when you learn it. And I'll do like a bar ice pick too, and I might do a couple more around the park. But little bar ice bar and a ice slide. So those are the kind of ones you can pick up on later on and learn. The ice slide's a really hard one, but it honestly just feels like a manual on your peg. So yeah, and to pick a quarter pipe to do it on, 5 foot, 6 foot quarter. Anything smaller is going to be too mellow for you guys to learn, and anything steeper is going to be a little bit too scary, I'd say. So 5, 6 foot is a good height.